Welcome back to Behind the Box, and just in time for our Netflix pick segment. And who's got the first pick? I believe it's Raphael. And what do you got?
My pick is Revolution.
Awesome.
You know how much I like apocalyptic.
Post-apocalyptic.
Post-apocalyptic. What was the term, Robbie?
Is it?
Post-apocalyptic.
Yes!
I did say it.
Anyways, the premise is the power goes out. Anything that's electrical can't turn on, and they can't bring the power back. So then a new world comes about, full with militia and different military, and it's great. And I think my most favorite part about it is instead of using guns for everything, is they got to conserve ammo because they can't make any more. Everyone's got swords.
Yes, a lot of sword fighting.
Pirates and.
So I kind of
heads
imagine
and
this
all
as this is what happens when the power goes out at medieval times. It's basically
It's back to medieval. We go back to medieval, basically.
basically the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean that's the best thing about. That's why everybody likes Daryl on The Walking Dead, because he uses a crossbow, and that's the smartest thing you could use. You know, you're gonna run out of ammo eventually.
And he's a badass.
That
Well,
helps.
he uses blades too, right?
Yeah, but so reusable weapons. Like
Right.
everybody else is just firing off bullets. It's like,
Well,
who's gonna make those?
Well, you'll find crossbows and various other weapons in Revolution. It's.
How
But those
far
are
have you
medieval
watched
weapons.
into the show itself?
I am probably have about 3 episodes left.
Because I have bad news for you.
I know it ends.
NBC canceled the show.
I know it canceled, but still, it's a great
Has
story.
to end
and
sometime.
everything ends.
Well, everything should get an ending, though. This one didn't get an ending. They just ended with a cliffhanger. So.
Well,
But
not
I'm okay with that.
Not everybody is. That's not.
I
a deal
demand
breaker
an
for
ending.
everybody.
If I'm going to invest my time into a series, if it doesn't have an ending, I'm not going to watch it anymore. So,
Go to the studios and demand your show back.
I wish I could, but I'm just one man. What can I do?
Nothing.
Just one
Exactly.
man.
Anyways, it's great. I like it.
Awesome. Now, a little bit of trivia for that. I mean, because a lot of people asked me, like when I was watching the first season, like, oh, how can that even happen? So the power goes out, so use some batteries, and why can't you just use the car batteries? And why can't... But there's a thing in place in the show as to where, like,
Batteries don't work.
nothing works that's electrical, and there's a reason for that. Something is drawing it out of the air, and it can't exist anymore. So it's not like they could just go, like, stock up on batteries, because I got asked that a lot. How can you watch a show where it's so stupid? If you lose power, just use your flashlight, you know? And it's like, it's not the way that works anymore on Revolution. It is a good show, though.
Oh, speaking of shows that don't have an ending. Yeah. Yep. Jericho.
Jericho!
I like this one too.
Starring Skeet Ulrich.
Skeet!
Whatever happened to him? He was doing so well with Scream and then Jericho. And then Jericho just kind of faded into the distance.
Maybe he decided he wanted to go into the B-movie, really bad TV show.
Is that where you have?
Yeah, I don't know. I
So
don't know
he'll
what
probably
he's
be
done.
in Sharknado 2 when it comes out.
Maybe.
So I put Jericho. This is kind of an old show. It's from like the mid-90s, and is it not?
No.
When is it from?
It's like the mid-2000s.
Well, it feels like it's from the mid-90s. But it doesn't feel it's not quite as edgy as the.
No, definitely.
Because this is also a post-apocalyptic show, but it's based on the small town of Jericho. So it's a different dynamic from, say, Revolution or Walking Dead or something like that, because it's really based on the people in that small town and them interacting and trying to deal with this. I guess it's kind of an invasion is what it turns out. But it's basically like this. They see a nuclear bomb go off in the distance, and it's like, okay, we're on our own now.
We're on our own now, yeah.
Yeah. But it's pretty interesting. Like we were talking about, it kind of fades off into the end of the first season, into the second. I think there's only 2 seasons on Netflix.
Well, I think the second is like 7 episodes or something.
Right, the first one's probably like 14 episodes or something.
Yeah,
like that.
it's pretty short. It's a pretty short run, but it's definitely not. Did you know there was rumors, and it's still going today, that they may bring it back to Netflix for a 3rd season?
Yeah, and when I finished it, I definitely did a bunch of research, and I wanted to find out if they ever ended it or if they were gonna end it. And yeah, that's interesting. But I mean, it seems like it's there's better shows now.
But it's definitely worth a watch.
But yeah, if you're just hanging around the house, you're flipping through Netflix, like we all do, it's good to fill up your time for a little bit.
Well, the most ultimate thing.
Wait,
on Netflix,
see, you're going. You gotta let me talk, man.
Talk.
You moved on, man.
Well, the monitor doesn't tell us everything.
All right. My favorite part about Jericho, though, is the fact that every episode, the sense of urgency is always really high. It's just like, we gotta go somewhere. Someone's in trouble. And then it ends and it kind of tapers off a little bit, but then it leads off into the next episode, and then boom, again, urgent. Oh my, yeah.
And it's very similar. Well, it's like 24 because that's how.
I was gonna say you could almost put like a beep boop at the beginning. And
oh, but no, if you do that, Raphael won't watch it.
No.
So.
But
No.
wasn't the last episode of 24? They didn't have the beep boop at the end
Just
of it.
in a couple places.
Oh, see.
They do it in really emotional spots and spots
yeah.
where main characters die. They don't do the beep boops.
Yeah,
So.
the beep boop is disrespectful to the dead. So.
Wasn't it the beep beep and the phone ringing?
Oh no, that was the first like 4 seasons of the show because the place was like CTU had its own phone ring and it was like that doot doot dee doo. Which by the way, when I worked at the TV station I worked at, like I knew like 5 or 6 people that had that as their ringtone on their phones. And one of the guys that was our anchors would answer the phone and go CTU like. So
Wow.
anyways, yeah, they killed that after they got rid of that CTU. So that died midway through the show.
I'm done talking about Jericho now.
Are you done talking about Jericho?
I am.
So
Already
now
talking.
can I put up the Breaking Bad graphic? Is that
I
okay?
mean, does anybody even?
Yes.
Does anybody watch this show? I mean, I don't think.
Yeah,
it's really good.
nobody watches Breaking
I
Bad.
heard it's not very
The
good.
finale, got like how many views?
Like 3 people watched it, I think.
Yeah, right. Okay. I'm gonna ignore you now, because if there is one thing to watch on Netflix, you have to watch Breaking Bad.
And it's all there. And it's
They've got
glory.
everything, all 6 or 5. I don't know how they did that.
A lot of seasons.
Well, they had 5 seasons, but they broke the 5th in half, and then they came back a year later to do the the final season. They didn't call it the 6th or the 5th; they called it the final season.
Yeah.
So,
It's not pretentious.
have you guys actually watched any of the
Yeah,
episodes of Breaking Bad?
I've watched a few of like the first season. For some reason, I always get distracted, and then I stop watching it.
Well, in the first season, like any show for the most part, does start out very slow, and it's an AMC drama. So at the beginning of it, you're going to have a lot of character development and a lot of like, because the basic plot line is Bryan Cranston's character Walter White. It starts out as he's just like this school teacher, this normal school teacher who's married and has a kid and is not living the best life in the world, but then he gets diagnosed with cancer. And he comes up with this master plan because this guy that was one of his students is a meth dealer and knows how to cook meth and all, or knows about the meth sales, and he's like an expert chemist. So he can make the best meth in the world, and that's kind of like the whole take on it. So he decides, I'm going to do this for my family. And throughout the seasons of the show, he goes from being this innocent family man to a drug lord.
Yeah.
And a very feared drug lord at that toward the end of the last couple seasons there. So it's a really cool transition to kind of watch Walter White do that. And Bryan Cranston's acting is what makes, he is just so into that role.
I mean, if you thought he was good at Malcolm in the Middle,
It was such a shocker.
Exactly
though.
what I was thinking.
yeah, I agree. I definitely need to just kind of take a weekend or like a week.
Yes, both of you.
Watch all
it
of it.
is like.
I'm on season 5 right now. So
Oh, you're watching?
yeah.
I am.
Oh, I didn't know you were watching.
Well, you guys are talking. Let me talk.
Well, you got to open your mouth and talk to me.
Well,
You
I just
know?
want to throw something at you.
Well,
throw
talk
this
to me.
pillow.
Talk to me here, Raphael.
Breaking Bad. I agree. Excellent. It's all there on Netflix. Spend the weekend, watch it. Might take you longer than a weekend.
That's why I said a week. Yeah,
Probably a little longer than that. But
spread it out.
God, is it a good
Watch
show.
4 or 5 episodes a night. You're good.
Whoa. I won't leave time to watch all the Game of Thrones again.
Oh.
Rewatching that stuff.
But we'll definitely have time to take a look at our future focus segment, which is going to focus on the future of motion pictures and TV and everything. So we'll have a little bit of news of what's just around the corner coming up next.